Hey, look, I look a bit like Pope John Paul II. Yeah, anyway, the reason I say that is because my mate was put up to posting that someone had died who hadn't died, probably, almost certainly, that I don't know anyway, and then drugged me up to try and get me to think about it. But I didn't think about it and wasn't interested in thinking about it, and so they gave me drugs to try and make me all miserable like some people might be at the moment. I don't know. I can't guess. Didn't seem like that to me most of the time in town today. But anyway, that's none of my business. Like I said in one of my previous videos. But the reason I mentioned Pope John Paul II was not only because of that scenario, that clip that was trotted out, but also because my mate was put up to posting about that, and I could have said, well, hang on a sec, this religious figure, Jesus Christ, did actually say, let the dead bury their own dead. Now, that's not particularly my philosophy. But if you want to, get all preachy about it, you could say, well, look at that fella, and get all crucible thinking type thing. But even if I mentioned Hollywood, then Hollywood cracks out their stuff and so on and so forth, and it's all, and it all gets pretty, hackneyed. One of the reasons I won't go to the media is because I know how all the shenanigans work. I know that even the original architects of it are not in control of it. So I just, the answer is conventional living and thinking, which I do, which I mentioned in another video. But yeah, it's like I spoke to the pharmacist today about my meds. They were more intent on trying to come out with these words that are supposed to be triggering words, or words that try to teach me something or other. That's a load of bullshit. But anyway, the reason I don't go to the media now, and may never do again, maybe YouTube, but that'll be the usual stuff, is because they've got a problem. Like I was going to say to the pharmacist, it's about time you and whoever's putting you up to saying these things started listening to Jethro Tull, living in the past sort of thing. And if they are living in the past, which it looks like to me some of the time, what past are they living in? It's actually not of interest to me anymore. But like I say, they keep going on with these notions that freaking people out downtown and all that. That's none of my business. I've got a, the guy down the coffee shop was having a meltdown today. He was serving me coffee 1 minute, having a meltdown 1 minute, then okay the next. This type of thing does go on. Really none of my business. If the powers that be are feeding stuff to people, which I know they're going to do anyway, they can't help themselves. I just get on with conventional thinking and living. That is the way to live. That is the way for so many people who face issues. That's the way I'd argue for them to live. I do see the type of kidology as I mentioned in the description to what one of the videos I posted. And there is a fair bit of that going on. Possibly to try and teach me a lesson for things eons ago, despite the fact that, I've got my opinion on those things. I haven't really got anything to prove, and so, I've sort of left it. But anyway, people seem a bit obsessed with me and stuff like that. And maybe one day the circus will leave town. Maybe that's what I'm expecting. I don't know, but if it happens, it ain't going to be the end of the world. If I'm, the suggestion keeps being that if you don't toe the line or whatever, that I'll live a pretty isolated life. Well, I do anyway. And if I want to go back to the past like these people seem to be doing, I could go back to 4 years where I pretty much lived on my own. I lived with, the only difference really, in any concrete terms, would be I wouldn't be around my mum. My mum's the only factor that would be essentially different in all that. So I know I can do it. If I could do it for 4 years, chances are I can do it for a few decades, is what I'm thinking. So, like I say about the pharmacist, they were so intent on coming out with their scripted lines that the first one couldn't quite grasp that I was asking for a certain bit of information, like what you ring a pharmacist for, conventional living, while he was consumed with coming out with scripted lines, which are then tested. And as I know, there's a good chance that the powers that be will start tripping and all that sort of thing again. I'll get drugged up and they'll get denouement fever and all the rest of it for a bit. And then test stuff off the back of that. Well, really, that has got to be none of my business. And going about my day to day, I sort of, yeah. But anyway, I got back, did a bit of meditation, did a bit of yoga. Not that I needed to. But anyway, I am drugged up at the moment anyway. But, these things happen. I know when they're happening, even when they're subtle, like I said, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, so many people seem invested on coming out with these script lines that they don't really know how to stop doing it. I don't think there's a strategy with the powers that be. Not that they're in control, even though they think they're in control, and they've tried to manufacture this sense of order. You can't blame them. These are people who like to do that sort of thing and who see it as valuable on things. But it's just not relevant to me. If it was relevant to me, that was a very long time ago. And then for 24 years, I was... to be sort of tested after all that time. And it's just like, I'll take it or leave it. I can leave it, and for a bit I took it, and, they will possibly continue and then say, well, if you don't play ball, then we're going to do this or that or whatever. Come on then. What do you want me to do about it? You lot are going to freak out anyway, eventually. This is why I don't go to the TV. I haven't got a problem. The TV's got a problem. When they keep trotting out lines like no problem and no worries and all this sort of thing that people are put up to saying, like I said to the fireman, as you know, if you have to keep saying no problem, then maybe it's you who's got the problem. If I turn on the TV, like I've said before, they'll be like rabbits in the headlights looking for a sign that they're saved or doomed or whatever. And this is that thing I say about hope and despair. Conventional living, they try to tell people going through shit, you've got to have hope. No, you ain't. You just get on with stuff. You just get back to conventional living. Anyway, there's stuff in my environment today that I'll just take no notice of. Now, not that that's strictly accurate. It's just that there's nothing to take notice of anymore. Once you go through the process, I was looking at the car number plates and stuff like that, and people and stuff like that today. All that semiotic crap just pales into insignificance. And this idea of representation is bullshit and all, because basically, and I agree with this, I do agree with this book on discrimination that I read that they wrote, said that you've got to treat everyone as an individual. Because even though people have their tribes or whatever you want to call them, their group affiliations and stuff like that, everyone has to be taken as an individual. And that's how I try to take people. And what they're stuck with now is really what they're stuck with. I ain't got the answer to give them to say, oh, look, you're saved or you're doomed or whatever, because I'm not going for either. But like I say, it's a bit funny, but it's and a bit of an adventure, but it's a bit crazy as well. That so many people I know are just trotting out lines given to them by the powers that be, and it's just like, well, hang on a sec. I'm supposed to, have a normal conversation with you when that's going on, and you're being fed lines by the powers that be, who are also sound like they're hearing voices as well some of the time. But anyway, that's the way it is, isn't it? And like I say about this thing about even Jesus Christ said, let the dead bury their own dead. You can make whatever you want out of that. I'm not particularly interested, like I say, not religious, fairly spiritual. The stuff I'm going to think about tonight, things I'm interested in. I bought a subscription to YouTube. I may use it. I don't know yet. I know the type of stuff that's going to be there anyway. And the type of rabbits in the headlights type situation the powers that be are going to be in. And to me, it's like, it's like I said in the past video, it's done and dusted. But like I say, they keep drugging me up. But again, I'll just get on top of these druggings eventually, or in the moment sort of thing, and just resolve them. That's what you've got to do when you are conventionally thinking and conventionally living. That's just it. What else is there to say, really? I'm sure I'll find something. It's like the pharmacist tried to set up a scenario that if I said something with the old worn out scripts, that if I say something, trying to put me off saying something, like that's ever going to work. It's just like, well, if I want to say something, I'm going to say something, aren't I? And that's the way to be, isn't it? But anyway, if I didn't say something, then who's there left to say anything? When the powers that be start going into one. But anyway, yeah. Spoke with this one guy today. Apparently he's an artist. And he was fed lines to say certain things. And I could have explained, I could have debated, I could have argued. I just thought, really can't be bothered. But chances are there might be more of that. Because, I'm just not interested in the lecture. It's like someone while I was in hospital, a member of my family was either fed lines or it was someone pretending to be a member of my family, my extended family. And she was trying to speak on behalf of someone who was dead. And it's like, well, hang on a sec. Do you really do that sort of thing? But anyway, chances are the individual involved was either put up to it or it was someone else sort of thing, using their messaging app in whatever way they do. None of my business, really. Like I said, all these people's business is none of my business. Now, if I say that, I'm sure there'll be some drugging or some problem off the back of it concocted, with people running around then saying no problem, no worries. It's like, well, hang on a sec. There's quite a lot of people who do seem to have quite a lot of worries, and no matter what I do, they're going to keep having worries. That's why I say I'm leaving them to it. There is nothing else to do when you know that even the original architects of all this, that I sussed out ages ago, not that I need to prove anything in that respect, I've no longer got control over this anyway. That's just it. But anyway, while in the midst of being drugged up, doing this video, now the druggings are abating, I can sort of close it there. But like I say, ideas of representation are bullshit, because at the end of the day, everyone is an individual, and you treat them as such. You know, I go about my day, and when I come back, I think, well, what lives are people leading when they're not putting on this circus, or this lecture, or whatever way you want to put it. To me, you know, when people are that crazy as opposed to me, it's just, thank you, but no thank you. That's the way it is.